time is 6:15. Here's the news edited by Dulmin Samarasinghe, read by Victor Raj. Here are the headlines of the local news. People living in low-lying areas are requested to be vigilant due to rising water levels of rivers. All measures are in place to face any flood situation. The Met Department forecasts less rain from tomorrow. Landslide warnings issued to 3 districts. Government purchases vegetable stocks piled up at Dambulla Economic Centre. Foreign news. Irish Health Services is hit by cyber attack. Sports news. Rugby. British and Irish Lions scheduled for South Africa tour changed to reduce travel. Local news in detail. Many areas of the country are receiving heavy rains due to the prevailing inclement weather condition. The Disaster Management Centre said certain low-lying areas have submerged as a result. The Irrigation Department said that a minor flood situation could occur from Hangwalda to Nagalagam Street. Colombo District's Secretary Pradeep Yasaratna said measures are in place if there is a flood threat in Colombo District. 10 Navy teams have been deployed for relief work if there would be a disaster situation. The Army will also join the relief work. Earth mounds have collapsed on the main road to enter Muskelia town through Ginnigathena, Diagala and Norton Ridge. Meanwhile, 13 people who have been trapped due to the overflowing of Kuda Oya at Mai Nolua, Ruwanwella have been rescued. One person has drowned in the Gingaga. The water levels of Kalani, Kalu, Ging, Nilwala, Mahaveli rivers and Mahaoya and Attanagaloya are rising. Paddy fields in several areas are submerged. Floods have occurred at Mathura, Akurasa, Valigama and Varipitia areas. People in certain areas are facing a drinking water problem due to the pollution of the water in wells. Mathura District Secretary Pradeep Ratnayaka said that all measures are in place to face any disaster situation. Ratnapura District Secretary Malini Lokupathagama said steps have been taken to inform the people in Ratnapura. 3 sluice gates of Uddawala Reservoir have been opened. Abilipitia Mahaveli Authority Engineer Sujiva Gunasekara requests the people living by the sides of the reservoir to be vigilant. Director of the Met Department said that the low pressure could develop into a cyclone which will not have a major impact on the country. The National Building Research Organisation has issued Level 3 red landslide warnings for Galle, Kaluthara and Mathura districts. The red alert has been issued to Palindanuvara, Agalavatta, Valalavita, Mathugama, Dodanguda, Ingiriya and Bulat Singhala in the Kaluthara district. It is effective for Niyagama, Neluva, Elpitia, Baddegama, Tavalama and Yakkalamulla in the Galle districts and Peterbadara in the Mathura district. Since the rainfall within the past 24 hours has exceeded 150 mm, people living in the aforementioned areas have been urged to evacuate to safe locations. A Level 2 amber warning for possible landslides was issued for Sitawaka in the Colombo district, Naguda in the Galle district, Horana in the Kaluthara district, Varakapula and Dehiyovita in the Kagala district and Ahaliyakuda in the Ratnapura district. Vegetable stocks have piled up at the Dambulla Economic Centre following travel restrictions. Nearly 700,000 kilograms of vegetables brought from various areas have piled up at the centre. Therefore, the government has decided to purchase all vegetable stocks at the centre. A decision in this regard took place under the patronage of Minister Janaka Bandara Tennakon and with the attendance of the officials from the Prime Minister's Office and Finance and Agriculture Ministries. The vegetable stocks will be sent to the army and private sector. Dambulla Economic Centre was closed this afternoon and it will be opened on Monday. Badulla District Secretary Damayanti Paranagama said that 2 COVID intermediate treatment centers will be set up in the district. She said that an old garment factory in Badulla town will be converted into a 700-bed treatment center. Kahagolla Cooperative Building will also be used for the purpose. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Digital accounts can now be opened in 10 minutes. People's Bank Digital Banking, your ultimate convenience.
Continuing with more local news, 30 persons have been arrested when they attempted migrate to a foreign country illegally by sea during special operation carried out by Sri Lanka Navy and Coast Guard in Samindugama. The Navy and the Coast Guard during a special operation in Samindugama yesterday managed to nab 15 individuals whom were suspected to have attempted to illegally migrate to a foreign country by sea. Following further search, the Navy and Coast Guard arrested 15 more persons who were suspected to be attempting to illegally migrate from the island via sea routes. The suspects were identified as residents of Jaffna, Batticaloa, Mullaitivu and Putlam areas. They were handed over to the Chilo police for further investigations. The Meteorology Department said an earthquake has occurred near Sumatra Island in the Indian Ocean today, but it has no tsunami threat to Sri Lanka. Specifically, the coastal areas of Sri Lanka are declared safe. The earthquake, with a magnitude of 6.7 on the Richter scale, had occurred off west coast of the northern Sumatra at about 12:03 p.m. today. Equipment for conducting PCR test has been handed over to the laboratory of the Batticaloa Teaching Hospital. The equipment was handed over to Director of Batticaloa Teaching Hospital, Dr. K. Kalaranjini. The equipment worth 1.52 million rupees was donated by a donor from Batticaloa. A function in this regard was held at the Batticaloa District Secretariat today. That ends local news.
Debit card, mobile and internet banking along with cardless cash facilities can now be open in just 10 minutes with no form filling with People's Bank Digital Banking.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
The World Bank has announced a $80.5 million credit for Sri Lanka to help it purchase vaccines for fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. The Washington-based global financial institution said that the new financing will help purchase vaccines to cover approximately 4 million people. In addition, it will cover the cost of deploying safe and effective vaccines to 20% of Sri Lanka's population to meet the target of vaccinating at least 60% of its population. That ends main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
Moving on to Watchlight, Sri Lankan Airlines said that according to the latest health guidelines issued by the Australian High Commission in Colombo, passengers travelling on Sri Lankan Airlines to Australia require a negative rapid antigen test prior to check-in for flights, commencing tomorrow. Passengers are kindly advised to contact their travel agent or contact Sri Lankan Airlines Global Call Centre on +9411 777 1979 or visit website www.srilankan.com for further details. That ends Watchlight. Moving on to world news, let's take a look at the headlines. Irish Health Service is hit by cyber attack. U.S. fuel pipeline pays millions of dollars in ransom to hackers. Prince Harry says he wants to break cycle of pain for my children. World news in detail. Ireland's health service has temporarily shut down its IT system after what it describes as a significant ransomware attack. The health service executive said it had taken the precaution of closing down its system to further protect them and assess the situation. Dublin's Rotunda Hospital has cancelled outpatients' visit due to a critical emergency unless women are 36 weeks pregnant or later. A major U.S. fuel pipeline has reportedly paid cybercriminal gang Dark Side nearly $5 million in ransom following a cyber attack. Colonial Pipeline suffered a ransomware cyber attack over the weekend and took its service down for 5 days, causing pipelines to tighten across the U.S. CNN, the New York Times, Bloomberg and Wall Street Journal all reported a ransom was paid. Colonial said that it would not comment on the issue. The Duke of Sussex has said he wants to break the cycle of the pain and suffering of his upbringing with his own children. Prince Harry, who is expecting a daughter with wife Meghan and is already father to their son Archie, said he did not want to pass on pain from his own experience. But he said he did not think they should be pointing the finger at anybody. Clarence House said it would not be commenting on the Prince's remarks. To wrap up the world news, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Irish Health Service is hit by cyber attack. U.S. fuel pipeline pays millions of dollars in ransom to hackers. Prince Harry says he wants to break cycle of pain for his children. Moving on to development news, a heated humidified oxygen therapy unit has been invented with the contribution of Professor Ranil De Silva, Dr. Tilanka Ratnapala and a team of medical experts. It is a concept of Vidya Jyoti Dr. Bandula Vijay. The device is capable of delivering temperature-controlled oxygen with full humidity at high capacity to patients with respiratory complications. The maintenance unit of the Air Force Engineering Corps manufactured the unit. That ends development news. Sports news is brought to you by...
When Aya bought a motorbike, he bought 2 helmets. So sweet of him. I'm sure the other one is for me.
In whatever we do, we Sri Lankans are always thinking of others. When we get Munchie Super Cream Crackers, they're not just for ourselves. Munchie Super Cream Cracker. Super kiyanne nikan neve.
Rugby news. The British and Irish Lions scheduled for this summer's tour of South Africa has been amended to reduce the risk of disruption caused by the coronavirus. The team will play 8 matches in 3 cities rather than 6. Warren Gartland's side start in Johannesburg before playing in nearby Pretoria, while the first test against the world champions is in Cape Town. A Lions statement said all games were being organized on the basis they will take place behind closed doors. Tennis news. Rafael Nadal saved 2 match points to overcome a huge test from Denis Shapovalov and reached the Italian Open quarterfinals. The Spaniard was a set and a breakdown but outlasted the Canadian to win 3-6, 6-4, 7-6, 7-3 in a near 3.5-hour contest. Nadal, chasing a 10th title in Rome, forced a third set tie-break by saving match points at 6-5. Meanwhile, Novak Djokovic reached his 15th Rome quarterfinal in a row. Athletics news. British sprinter Diana Asher-Smith began her outdoor season with an impressive win over 200 metres in Savona, Italy. The world champion at the distance won in 22.56 seconds, finishing ahead of fellow Briton Beth Dobbin, who was second in 23.06 seconds. It was Asher Smith's first 200-meter race since becoming world champion in Doha in October 2019. The 25-year-old will take part in the 100-meter at the Grand Prix in Gateshead on Sunday. That ends sports news.
My wife always sets a full lunch table, even if it's just the two of us. She always expects people to drop by, like maybe the army.
In whatever we do, we Sri Lankans are always thinking of others. When we get Manchi Super Cream Crackers, they're not just for ourselves. Manchi Super Cream Cracker. Super kiyanne nikan neveyi.
Contributory deposit of ₹1,000 from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Haley's Fabric has recorded profits for the 3 months ended in March 2021, but the performance was moderate from the previous 2 quarters. The company generated earnings of 40 cents a share or 166.3 million rupees during the quarter, compared to a loss of 169.4 million rupees recorded in the year earlier period. The revenues increased 66% year-on-year to 3.7 billion rupees, recording a slowdown from the previous 2 quarters. That ends Business News. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of ₹1,000 from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Moving on to economic news, Board of Investment Chairman Sanjay Mohotala said the need for continuing the manufacturing process as a national responsibility despite the current COVID-19 pandemic situation in the country. He said the BOI would facilitate the enterprises within and outside the BOI zones to operate without any interruption. He said the BOI would continue providing facilities to these enterprises under the BOI. That ends economic news.
Weather Report was sponsored by
Dialogue in partnership with the Ministry of Education introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
The Met Department says impact of the low-pressure area developed in the southeastern Arabian Sea on weather over the island is expected to reduce gradually from tomorrow. Several spells of showers will occur in western, Sabaragamuwa, central and northwestern provinces and in Gol and Mathura districts. A few showers will occur in northern and north-central provinces. Showers or thundershowers will occur at a few places in the eastern and Ur provinces during evening or night. Fairly heavy falls above 75 mm can be expected at some places in Ratnapura, Kagalla, Gol, Mathura and Kaluthara districts. Wind speed can increase up to 50 km per hour at times over the island. Wind speed can increase up to 60 km per hour, particularly in northern, north-central and northwestern provinces. That ends Weather Report.
Weather Report was sponsored by
Dialogue in partnership with the Ministry of Education introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
To wrap up the evening news broadcast on Radio Sri Lanka, a recap of headlines. People living in low-lying areas are requested to be vigilant due to rising water levels of rivers. All measures are in place to face any flood situation. The Met Department forecasts less rains from tomorrow. Landslide warnings issued to 3 districts. Government purchases vegetable stocks piled up at the Ambul Economic Centre. Foreign news, Irish Health Service is hit by cyber attack. Sports news, Rugby, British and Irish Lions scheduled for South Africa tour changed to reduce travel. That ends the evening news broadcast on Radio Sri Lanka. Back to my good friend and yours, Sound the Town.